come to. The slave catchers will be coming in tonight, and then we're going to need your help here today. My name is Cyrus Ford. I farm over above Dome Brook, and I've been active with the Cleveland Vigilance Committee and the Underground Railroad now for several years. And on behalf of the Vigilance Committee, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. As I said, we have 4 fugitives that escaped from Culpeper County, Virginia, and we have them out back. And we need to move them towards the docks, down the Buffalo Road, down towards the square, and out on a riverboat, out onto a larger boat moored in Lake Erie, and then on to the Queen's Dominion in Canada for ultimate freedom. And we're going to need your help. Now, as I said, we have the 4 in the back. We have Sam. He ran the mill over on the plantation, so of course he knew the surrounding area, so he was the one who had directed the escape. And then we have Peter. He was in charge of the horses, and obviously that's a vital step as well. We have Mary and Diana, the wives of the 2 gentlemen. They are actually sisters to each other. We have no children on this trip. That will make our activities a little easier today. But it also helps to explain why we're here today. Because increasingly, old Solomon Jones was becoming much more active in being concerned about the next generation of free labor on his plantation. And perhaps having children to sell downriver. And the women wanted no part of that. And we aimed to try and help. But that's why they wanted to start heading northward. Now, I heard that the East Cleveland slavers brought dogs. So who brought pepper? Anybody bring pepper for me tonight? Pepper? Oregano? Anything? Any spices? What's that you say, ma'am? Vanilla. Well, I appreciate the thinking. No, we want to ward them off, not attract them. We'll just have to go. We'll have to go with what I brought. My boy Horace, he thinks about everything. Let's see what we have left. Well, it's not much, but it'll have to do. It'll have to do. You know, we have to douse them in order to kind of ward off the scent, but and scare the dogs. But that'll be helpful, and we'll see what we can do. Now, as I said, we have the 4 in the back. Earlier this summer, they gathered up the fastest horses on the plantation, saddled them up. Sam and Peter saddled up and get ready. The women folk jumped up behind them with as much food and provisions as they could carry, try and survive the trip, clothes, food, whatnot. And they set off for the hills of northwest Virginia. And they put in 2 days of free travel before anybody even knew they was missing. They crossed the Ohio River below Wheeling, and they crossed into Ohio and started to make their way northward. Now, having stepped into the free states of the north, they started thinking that they had a little bit more margin of safety. Alas, that was one of their mistakes, because as you may know, under that full fugitive slave law, a southerner can come back up north and reclaim a slave as if it was no better than a table or chair. Well, that's an unjust law, and that's what we aim to be fighting for, and that's again why I appreciate you being here today. Now, the 4 were able to start making their way up, but as they approached Cadiz, they would see who should be gaining on them but old Solomon Jones. So they quick dashed back off into the woods, and all but Sam escaped capture. The 3 were able to find their way northward and into the protection of the Quaker community in Massillon. Elder Williams and his boy Ed and the others, you've seen them before. They've been loyal to the cause. They've been tremendously helpful. We do appreciate their help. But Sam was captured, and he was taken to the Cadiz jail. And he was locked up rather than like chopping off his foot or his ear or branding him in some such foolishness as they've been known to do. They locked him up, and thinking that they were in hot pursuit of the other 3, they set back out. Therein was their mistake. So no sooner had they left that some wise friends in Cadiz came back to visit that magistrate. And they asked and said, why is Sam being held at all? And because there were no slavers around to swear to it, they swore out a writ of habeas corpus to demand that he be released if no one could show why he should be held. And the magistrate did that. And Sam took off faster than a rabbit into the woods. He too was able to find his way northward and into the protection of the Massillon community of Quakers. And there was much reunion happiness going on with hosannas and praise the Lords raining down upon the heads of the Williams family and the other families there. And rightfully so, rightfully so. They do tremendous work on our behalf. But so too did that family, those families of the Quaker community in the Cadiz campground area that were able to come and get safety and security for Sam. Now, but it is still a terribly dangerous sort of trip, as you know. Now, Elder Williams was not able to bring him immediately to us here because of the slaving activities. But ultimately, he was able to take them and bring them up. And immediately when they came here, we put them in the back, and arranged for their safekeeping and meeting with doctors and make sure they're healthy and strong. And I sent my boy Horace down to visit with John Brown, the barber over on Seneca Street, right across from the jail. He is bar none the best at getting somebody off the docks and out to the lake and across to the Queen's Dominion, bar none. And I dearly love the irony that he is operating in a hotel right across the street from the jail, as if hiding in plain sight couldn't be more appropriate. Now, but even so, John Brown told my son that it was entirely too busy to be able to move those people that day. And you may recall those were the days when the Tennessee slavers were up, and they were going house to house to house. So you knew it was a dangerous time. But he said that if we brought him back 3 days hence, he would be able to get him off the docks on a riverboat and out to a major boat in the lake, and then off to the Queen's Dominion in Canada. And that night is tonight. Now, it only stands to reason that the slavers are out. Ohio has more routes to freedom than any other state of the Union, with crossing points from Pontiac to Lorraine. And it only stands to reason, I suppose. We got Virginia to the east and Kentucky to the south, two of the largest slaving states. So it only stands to reason. Now, some of you may know that under the law of the Underground Railroad, Cleveland is referred to as a place called Hope, or the Crossroads. Now, under that same nomenclature, Port Stanley, Canada is referred to as Praise the Lord. And the distance from Hope to Praise the Lord may be quite short, but it is also fraught with danger, and that's why we need your help tonight. Now, the reason the roles that I think I'm going to be asking for your help on is that we usually create some sort of a diversion to try and detain them. We may have gotten some luck this time because they seem to be a little later now, perhaps owing to our friends over in the Shaker community. They've been loyal to the cause. They've been helpful as well. But we need to create some sort of diversion, and typically we would just have a fight going on. But increasingly that became much more ordinary and hasn't been as successful in the past. But maybe if we had two women fighting, they might stop a little bit. And maybe even place a bet. You know Southerners, they'll place a bet on anything. So maybe I'm going to ask if the two of you, if you might pull her hair and call her a mangy cur. And you could get back to her and shove her a bit and call her a benighted gorgon or something like that. And maybe roll around in the mud a little bit. That'd be tremendously helpful for us here. And sir, I do admire that jacket that you got on. As I said, we need to be dressing them up as dock workers and their wives. If I get back to you, if you might be able to loan it to me, I would deeply appreciate it. We would reimburse you, of course. The ladies of the Cleveland Vigilance Committee are planning a bake-off just for that very purpose, to raise some funds for that sort of activity. But I'll get back to you a little later on to see where we're at on that one, okay? Well, very good, very, very good. Now, I do want to thank y'all for coming tonight. I want the good Lord to bless us on our mission tonight. And I want him to bless each and every one of you for your role in it. And I want God to bless freedom. Thank you very much.